Red alert! Set an intention. Go to Salon track.
Ahoy, ahoy, friends. Reporting live from Los Angeles. A genetic experiment gone wrong today is our top story. That's right. Matt's
but
with
enough
me in
about
person. I said top story. That's not about you, honey. Let's beam in the crew. Keeping score for us tonight. Joanne, how are you? How's the score?
I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch.
Yes. Speaking of bitches, how are you, Ken?
Hey. I am.
Speaking of hey,
Oh.
how are you? Well,
Hay is for horses, and all I got is this big old horse dick.
Where?
Dick.
well,
I was going face.
oh,
Problematic gay alert.
nay. Don't make that. Off the rails already. Speaking of being off the rails, I am so sad for Pelia. She can't go off the rail. Well, we don't know about cocaine, but LSD and LDS doesn't work for her. In the meantime, though, you know what does work for us? Liking and subscribing. We are at Salon Trek in all of the places here on YouTube, Thursdays at 6:30 Pacific. And wherever you get your podcast nonsense, our nonsense is there for you. We're also on Patreon. We will be recording a bonus episode this week for anybody who gives $5 or more. Commentary on fun episodes. This month, we're going to be taking a little bit of shore leave. Oddly enough, did not intend it to tie into this episode, but we will be going to Ryza with Jadzia and, for some reason, Worf. So get excited. That will drop later this weekend, maybe early next week, before the end of the month.
Just like the environmental grid.
Yeah.
Because it dropped.
I always get it.
It's just rarely good.
That's not what I hear.
You know what, Ken? I'm going to give it to you because that was good. That was a good burn. Joanne, however you want to track that, you feel free. This is entirely up to you.
That's one old man yells at Cloud Point.
Yeah. Oh, you think I'm...
So when I hear you talk like shredded dragon fucking piece of crap.
We need adult supervision.
Yeah, Trevor, come back soon. Y'all, I'm just putting it off. We have an episode of Star Trek to talk about tonight. But before
we can just hang out. We can just have fun.
Question.
You know what we should do before we talk about the episode of Star Trek? We should set an intention.
This is obvious, but don't forget to set an intention when you light it, or you're just going to be wasting the wax.
I don't have a candle to light, but I do have a deep beverage to get drunk on.
To get lit on. Good. Perfect.
Thank you. God, Ken.
Uh-huh.
You.
I like it.
So Ken's running the show tonight.
Ken's on fire.
You know what? This episode calls for that.
You know what? That is...
What does that mean?
The universe of
TOS.
Yeah, the universe of Star Trek is a little off kilter tonight, and so the Salon is going to be off kilter. I like it. It's a vibe. Now, don't let it go to your head, Ken. Stay calm.
Don't worry.
Stay humble. Stay vigilant.
Don't worry.
Tonight's intention setter comes from Trevor, who again can't join us this evening. He is traveling with family. But as we saw in this episode, you can become another race, another species through genetic manipulation. Science be damned. We'll get into it. But what Trek cast would you like to see turned into what Trek species? Trevor not being here, I will go first. I would like to see Deep Space Nine get even hornier by becoming betazoids.
Okay.
I like that.
Let's circle around and come back to my physical presence. Let's go to Joanne next.
Well, I'm going to pick the Klingons. I mean, why not? Parties and fights for everybody. So, yeah, that's me.
Which cast?
TNG. Yeah.
TNG.
Yeah.
Ken?
I'm gonna one up you, Stan, and make them even hornier by making the DS9 cast become Deltans.
You know what? Yeah.
See, when you said horny, I did go Delton first.
Yeah.
But I mean, Betazoids.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
Will?
I thought my mind was like, wouldn't it be cute if they got like one of the cats got turned into cats or puppies or something, which I thought was such a dumb way to like. I'm very tired. It's been a very long week.
A lot of Ta'anas?
Huh?
A lot of Ta'anas? Or like
just like what is she, Cetacean or whatever it's called?
Cation.
Yeah, Cation. Yeah. So maybe that. Maybe I wouldn't have Strange New Worlds do it again, but maybe like Voyager get turned into something. I don't know.
I like
something
it.
like that.
Janeway as a
There we
cat.
go.
Janeway would work as a cat.
But then like someone's allergic, which would be really funny.
To themselves.
Yeah, well, the one person who couldn't, like, they find out that the doctor is programmed to be allergic to cats, but he's a hologram.
Yes,
that would
cats around keep sneezing.
And you know,
he gets
Neelix
real mad about it.
Those gross hairless cats
because he has so much hair normally.
Yeah. Matt.
So I actually had two that I'm going to say, and I so rarely have decent ones. One, Ken said it off camera once, but I actually think it would be really fun is if we had them get, it doesn't even matter the cast necessarily, get turned into tribbles a la Everything Everywhere All at Once when they're the stones.
Yeah.
And you just see them have to like roll around and like, but it's like silent otherwise.
Yeah,
like I think that's a fun concept. Or Lower Decks crew every one of them gets turned into a queue. And they all have to be like, oh, wait, shit. I have to fix what you just... And it's like all of this like very high level, like,
chaos.
Wait, the universe is inside out now. Wait, now time is backward. Like, and that's just the entire episode.
So like, you could tie in your triple idea into that. Then all of a sudden someone turns everyone into triples.
Oh, actually, that's a really good idea. Is this...
You're welcome. I'm a writer.
David Ellison, give us a call. We can do better
Hello.
Not all, but some.
We can do better than today. Hey.
Cute tribbles.
Speaking of hello to everybody in the chat, I see Joel, I see Jake, I see our panelists, I see DT. Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you all so much. O'Brien still suffers. Yes.
Well,
Q O'Brien, love it. Love it.
He's the only one that doesn't turn into a Q.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's like we know that they're going to do this in season 4. Like, I'm very curious. Is it just Pike as a Muppet? Is everybody a Muppet?
I want to know.
Few? Because I would love for it to be everyone but Pelia is a Muppet.
Oh,
right?
She
Like,
already is. How do you?
Yes.
Oh,
delightful. All right, let's just do it. All right. So there was an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds today, episode 8, 4.5 Vulcans, co-written by I truly not a bit. I do truly apologize. I forget the co-writer, but they also wrote Ad Aspera per Aspera and some other really great episodes.
It's Dana Gordon, I think, and Henry Alonzo Myers.
Yes. Yeah. Ham, I remember, because he has also written better episodes than today, but his fingerprints are all over this. He loves Vulcans. He wants to do Vulcan-y things. And like we've discussed at other points, when they want to do something, how it happens be damned. So kicking off the top thoughts section of this episode, I will say I did not like this episode, but I liked some things within it. I thought the writing was very rough and that practically nothing made sense, but it could have. Like, I don't like being one of those like, it's the writing, but like there were some hacky kind of things. It felt like it needed a polish and it needed a connect, like things just needed to make sense. And like very little did. The initial mission didn't make sense. The Kirkovian serum didn't make sense. They did at least tell us that it was the Kirkovian serum fucked up through their impression of Vulcans, through Spock's recollection of Vulcan upbringing, etc. But like it was just a little too quick and too hand wavy. Genetics equals traits is deeply problematic. This universe is way too small. Everybody's showing up around the corner. Like, where is this planet? Why is a shipyard so close? Why is Beta so close? Like, four different happenstances happened in this. There was Doug, who we'll talk about, Pisak, Corby, and Beto. And for some reason, yet again, Kirk was there. There are so many, just happens to be nearby, and I've got to ask.
Intruders among us! Danger! Danger! Intruders among us!
Why are you here so fucking much, dude? And why don't you call ahead? Your brother was off ship. It's weird. It's weird. I have plenty more to say. To end my top thoughts on a positive note, Una, I loved.
Oh, yes.
Una and La'an, I loved. I loved that the show remembered that they are good friends. And while I do not like the bombshell with a not conventionally attractive coupling, that they are both aliens helped. And because it didn't feel like a King of Queens kind of nonsense. It felt like there is some chemistry here. Patton Oswalt is delightful. I think he was wasted in this episode. And Rebecca Romaine is fantastic. She is always underutilized. Like that, I forgive the trope because their performance together was fun. And there were some really good, funny moments, even in a lot of awkwardness. Pelia was fucking delightful as always. Spock and Una was really fun together. And, we'll get into it. So let's circle back the same way. Let's kick things off with Joanne. Your top thoughts.
So I had to I shouldn't say ordinary. I don't look at anything else before this. I look at lots of things, but the adorable boys at Open Pike Night had an interview up with the actual authors. And so I decided to listen because I had to know like what was the author intent. Intent sort of matters. And there's, I think in this text or in this episode, there's a lot of subtext implied. But I wasn't sure if any of it was intended. And listening to the interview, they both kind of confirmed that at its core, wouldn't it be funny if, apparently they broke this kind of before the writer's strike, then it went on the table. And Dana was like, it was considerably less before when we first broke this story. And so when they came back, it was like a series of, like Stan said, he's into Vulcans and da-da-da-da-da, and wouldn't this be funny? And even though, Mr. Myers recognized there was a layer kind of how people perceive things differently based on their culture or their social location, he kind of thought exploring those things is interesting and fun. I mean, and on some level it is interesting and fun, but it's also can be deeply problematic. It's deeply complex, unequivocally linked to systemic issues of race, of gender, class, empire, all the things, right? And to not consider those implications is just, in my opinion, a textbook case of unchecked privilege, right? kind of like, wearing ceremonial clothing of another culture because it looks cool, or talking about how people talk or say things. It's just all of that's crazy to me, but again, it's your unchecked privilege. It doesn't directly impact you. So you think it's, oh, wouldn't it be funny if, wouldn't it be cool if? No, friends, no. Having said that, though, the moment where I got my entire life was the scene with Una, Spock, and Doug. And right at that point, when Spock was like, Una's pussy was literally on fire and dumped a drink in her lap, I hollered. Fuck y'all, that was hilarious, right? Um, and I could not stop laughing. So that whole scene got me together. So kudos to that. That shit was funny. But overall, I didn't, I got it, but I didn't like it. But y'all know I'm not the humor girl either. So, but I got it. Was it funny? Was it cool? No. But, I got it. I don't think they intended to be problematic, but this is one of those where impact outweighs intent, right? So that's me. Ken, baby.
Oh, where do I begin? So, first of all, Joanna, that was very well said. And I agree with everything that you said. Let's talk about Vulcans for a second. This show got Vulcans all wrong. If you think about the Vulcans that we know from the original series, which is the first time we saw them, obviously, you obviously Spock, but then the next time you really saw any Vulcans was a mock time, and the next time you really saw a real study on a Vulcan was Sarek in Journey to Babel. So the idea is these are not how Vulcans are supposed to be. And I think that in a lot of ways, this was pretty insulting to a lot of Star Trek fans, because for 60 years, there's Star Trek fans who look at the Vulcans and say, okay, well, the idea of Spock being half Vulcan and half human, this idea of people being feeling alienated, feeling isolated, feeling alone, there's a lot of people that relate to this concept of who the Vulcans are and who Spock was. And to play them to this level of just asininity, which is a new word, I think was just crazy. Plus, Vulcans know how to conjugate words. They're confusing Vulcans with androids. But I think there was a lot of problems with this episode. I think it was one of the top 10 episodes of Star Trek, if you're talking about worst episodes of Star Trek. So I, was my comment so bad that we now
IT has gone off the rails. Push the button on yourself, ho.
The wrong button, I'm sorry.
So having said that, oh, look, there's Trevor disagreeing with me from the chat, dropping by just to disagree with Ken. Of course, this isn't how Vulcans behave. The Kerkovians were obnoxious call center aliens. Okay.
We're gonna get into it. I have some thoughts, but you're not. I don't think that you're wrong, but I
don't think you're wrong. Period.
I understand where
I think though, but that what you're talking about there is a nuance that will be missed by most people who are watching this episode and will look at this and say, this is really a bad take on Vulcans and this beloved race that people have loved for 60 years. The fact that it was the Kerkovians or obnoxious call center aliens, that's okay, but that's not going to be what most people focus on in this episode. They're going to focus on the portrayal of Vulcans and how it was done. Having said that, I do think that there was humor. I agree completely with you, Joanne. That moment, the whole thing with Spock and Una was fantastic. With Doug, the whole thing about Doug and Susan, that was funny. The way that some of them, I think it's interesting to see these, as a wonderful cast, and to see the wonderful cast play variations on themselves, as poorly drawn as they were. Still, it was fun to see. Although I will say that this was not Anson Mounts' best episode by any means, for example. But
he was terrible.
He was terrible, but Celia was good.
Actor, but comedy is a challenge that is not up his alley.
Right. So those are my sort of top thoughts. Anyway, on to Will.
I'm surprised to know when I didn't enjoy this. There were points in that I thought were funny. Like, I might be in the minority. I liked the little end scene with the end credit scene. I thought that was really funny. I think it paints the Vulcans in a weird light, and I think because it's like I understand that, oh, these people were extra Vulcan, but it's such a glaze over, and it isn't like a central part of the point of the episode. And if I like when Strange New Worlds takes big swings, and this was an interesting swing. It was an episode that either needed to like get another draft, or maybe they needed to sit on it or something, but is the like penultimate episode of a season, and then the fact we're only getting like 6 of the next, it's a little upsetting that we get something that's so just bizarre this late in the season. And not that I'm saying that we need to have like big, terrifying world, these huge dramatic action blockbuster episodes. I just think that it's a little weirdly timed within the season. And it was like, was this like a leftover Lower Decks episode? Like, what the fuck was this? Like, it would have been better if they were animated, because it didn't seem like this was written for people. And like the jokes and stuff, I would be interested to read it, because like in the context of it being a live action episode, it sounded fucking nuts. And like, it's just very strange. Some of the jokes landed. On the whole, I like anytime Una's on the screen. I liked her and La'an's relationship. I just, on the whole, was like, what the fuck was any of this? And why is everyone here? What is the amount of backbreaking you had to do for the logic of this episode? And ironically, in an episode that's about Vulcans, is very strange. Why were they so close to this? Why are these people here? Why the fuck is Kirk in the episode? Like, why is you here? Oh, the Farragut's still getting repaired. Mama, they should have scrapped that fucking thing. It was a saucer. It was even like a whole saucer. It was like 2/3 of a saucer. Fucking scrap it. Get a new ship, bitch. Like, the fuck are you doing? It's insane that he shows up for no reason. He's just hanging out with Scotty. Fuck that. Like, it was annoying.
Ham wanted him and Scotty to have a fun
Mama, strange new ham-fisted. Like, what was this? This thing was so ham-fisted. It was Star Trek the ham-fist. I'm like, the final ham-fist. It was so annoying. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. But there were nice points in it. I want to completely shit on the episode. I think some of the stuff landed. I think the central stuff with Spock was very interesting. I think they dropped the ball entirely to have a nice Spock episode that talks about how, like, him being, bispecial and having issues with the Vulcans with that, where they touch on it and you see him. It also makes an interesting point that playing Vulcan is actually a lot harder than people think, because everyone else ended up sounding like fucking robots.
Yeah.
And
in order, Uhura, Lon and Chapel, wonky but on par, and then Anson is way down here.
He was the worst.
That was bad. But like, I even think Chapel was too robotic. La'an was playing a Romulan, and then Uhura was barely in the episode. So I don't think that those count at all. And like, I think Patton was great as a Vulcan, but he's obviously a super nerd and understands what he's supposed to be doing. Yes. Because it's not that you're emotionless, it's controlled.
Yeah, it's control.
I just don't understand. And Spock Kirk looked fucking old as shit. He smiled and had more wrinkles on his face.
Yeah.
That dude is too old to be playing Kirk. I'm sorry. That man is 97 years old. Get that man a facelift. If they're going to do Star Trek Year One, get that man a facelift in between.
I do want to, before I turn it over to Matt for his top thoughts, I want to quickly highlight something you said so that I remember that we need to talk about it. what was the purpose of this episode? And I know Joanne brought up, you were listening to the writers talk about it, like, oh, wouldn't this be fun? When, like, my big struggle with this show is quite often it feels like they don't have something to say when they have so much opportunity. And if you're spending $10 to $15 million an episode on Star Trek, say something. It's the whole point of Star Trek. This episode to me felt like a huge opportunity to touch on, like, as much as I don't want this show to focus on Spock, we've gotten so much of him. I love Ethan, but this was such a huge opportunity to focus on why Spock is the way that he is. Because they do make it pretty clear, or, well, no, they say clearly, but don't make it clear enough throughout the episode, given this conversation overall proves it, that the Kirkovian serum fucked some shit up because the call center aliens, as Trevor calls them, were going off of Spock's memories of growing up half Vulcan. So this episode could have pulled from that more and been a conversation about biracial people and how they're treated growing up, his feelings about Vulcans. Like, these people become such assholes because that was Spock's impression of Vulcans growing up. And they just missed the mark on that. We'll get into it further, but Matt, your top thoughts before we dive further.
Very quick top thoughts, because honestly, at the very end, the fun little gag between Doug and Spock, I think that the very end of that whole scene summed up the entire episode really well, where Spock just breaks character. Because it felt like this entire episode was somebody going like, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it, we're gonna get it, we're gonna do it. Yeah, no, just keep going, just keep acting, and then at the very end, it was like, get it? It was stupid. Like, that's how it felt the entire episode, where it was like, no, just improv it, just do it. Like, we're Vulcans today. Like, it just didn't feel like an episode. It felt just improv. Honestly,
let's not denigrate improv here.
Well, no, but
let's denigrate it more.
And also,
wow.
But like, it didn't feel cohesive. It didn't make sense. It was. I mean, Una was incredible. Obviously, she looked incredible. She was playing off of Patton Oswalt. Like, the two of them. That whole thing, fantastic. The tie-in with La'an and Romulans, actually kind of fun. You know, I didn't mind it. I liked, like, oh, hey, we did this DNA. It's 50-50 if you become a Vulcan or a Romulan. Like, that's kind of fun. I don't know. I'm really grasping for straws here. I didn't like the episode. I thought it was stupid.
What happened, but I get it.
Well,
I get it. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
Also, the scene with the two of them, I can't talk about it because it's class.
That was funny.
I thought it was stupid.
Oh, I love that.
I hated it. I think it was just Anson Mount that made me hate it.
Yeah.
That's actually what it was. I can't stand him doing anything except Anson Mount.
Cetaceous Ops was cool, though.
Except it shouldn't exist.
What?
Where is your toss spirit?
It didn't exist. Yes,
should not exist yet. But I do like that they gave us. My interpretation is either La'an is a whale girl. She learned something when she was in the past, or she's going to be security for Dr. Taylor's Cetacean Ops project that will be forthcoming in 15 years from this point. Because those whales should not be there. And technically they weren't. They were in her Katra space, not the actual science lab. But let's talk about something that also didn't make sense. The Vulcan hypocrites. They're not all assholes, but they are hypocrites. Because why did they save that planet?
Well, they were also visiting Earth for, remember?
Yes.
There was, what was it?
Which I still don't believe. Carbon Creek?
Carbon Creek,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Earth is not that interesting. I don't see it happening. But
Vulcans are obsessed with humans.
And I don't get it. Like, we suck. But this Vulcan mission that kicked off needing to be Vulcans. Like literally nothing about it made sense to me. And like, I'm curious if you all disagree or can bring me back from the brink of this, but Vulcans several hundred years ago saved this planet with some technology that is now breaking down. They didn't give them the means to fix it, so now Vulcans need to fix it, but Vulcans aren't nearby, so now the humans need to pretend to be Vulcan, but it can't be superficial because they can scan through that. But we can't tell them other aliens exist because they only know about one alien so far, and that may or may not be a prime directive violation. And why they did it, why didn't they do it, we're not going to talk about it. That's not what Ham wants to write this episode to be, so we're not going to make sense. Am I completely out of left field or...
Planet MacGuffin.
I didn't understand it at all. I had to watch it. I watched the episode twice, and I don't normally watch the episode twice before we do this. And I still didn't understand what the reasoning behind the Vulcans being there, and I didn't get any of that. Like none of the you know how I am about headcanon. I'm not filling in the blanks here. If they don't fucking say it to me, I'm not going to sit here and jerk myself off. I'm not going to do it. So I need to see full pickle, and I need to see all of that b-hole, or I'm not going to start playing fantasies in my brain. I'm not going to do it. And Stanley, can you please stop messing with the shit? It's just
I'm done now. I know.
And it wasn't clear enough in the episode why they did it in any of the shit that everyone's arguing about. It was not clear.
Yeah,
it was not clear at all.
They've done this so much this season already. I needed those details are classified. Like, why did the Vulcans break their own?
Done that, I would have accepted. It would have pissed me off because everything they fucking do is declassified.
Yeah.
And they're apparently Section 31 now, but
because they're I could see a reason the Vulcans would be like, one of our ships had an accident and a warp core breach poisoned their atmosphere, and we gave them that. Make it that kind of technology.
Or planted it or something. Did something where they're like, oh, we planted this there because something we did or whatever.
Yeah,
that would make more sense.
But unless they fucking lied to them and said, we're the only aliens in the universe, what would it matter? They knew they came out the fucking sky. What would it matter? Like, well, some more people live in the sky. What what would be the problem? That was dumb. Like I said, unless they just lied to them and said, oh, we're a fluke, we're God, we're here to save you. Which, you know, they may have.
That doesn't stop the Federation from picking up pre-warp people. Saru was pre-warp when they picked his when fucking Giorgio picked his ass up, so it's never stopped them before.
And the thing is, but the thing is, like, that's exactly what it is. I've lost it. As I was saying it, I lost it. I was grabbing into it. I was really
weigh in for the tosser alert. Yeah.
And I lost it.
Maybe the Tenasserins or whatever the hell they were called sent out a distress call. They're like,
oh, no, what I was...
God creatures that gave us this technology, it's breaking down, help.
But also, the thing is, if you have, like you said, scanning technology that can get down to that, we have tricked Romulans before and Klingons with the Federation's guises, and you're telling me that they have better scanners than the Romulans and the Klingons who do have warp drive and all these other, like, just bring them into the fucking Federation at that point.
Plot armor.
It doesn't matter.
Well, face of the enemy with Troy the Betazoid in Romulan makeup seemed to work pretty well for the Romulans.
Yeah, and why did they need to do the injection? They could have just put makeup on them. It's
because it was the plot. I do want to say that to what Fathery is saying, yes. I mean, the episodes that you mentioned, Mirror Mirror, Friday's Child, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. I mean, there's plenty of instances in the original series where pre-warp civilization, they beam down. They don't even put on it. They can beam down in their Starfleet uniforms. So, you know, but I think to that argument, you know, the concept has to evolve over 60 years, right? So I think, you know, and I you know, me, a TOS person, saying, you know, if those episodes were done today, I think they would be done a little bit differently with how, you know, the history of the Federation has been borne out over the course of the franchise. However, I do still think that this episode, it was definitely a Planet MacGuffin. It made no freaking sense. And, you know, it also made no freaking sense that Pelia, who is this amazing engineer, is flabbergasted by these Vulcans who have been Vulcans for all of 5 minutes being able to solve the crisis before the cold open is over. And also, another thing I just want to say is, in case you didn't catch it, using Anson Mount doing his Vulcan reading of Space, the Final Frontier was terrible, terrible, among many terrible things about this episode. Anyway.
Yeah. Them, again, the list of things that didn't make sense, them being able to fix things so quickly, like Pelia, like Ken just said, Pelia is a brilliant engineer. She doesn't lie about how long shit's going to take. And for them to be better at it, because like, had there been some kind of like I can, my willing suspension of disbelief can accept that 4 very serious people now are more laser focused on the task at hand and a little more efficient, but not cutting a 5-hour mission down to 5 minutes. Like that's fucking insane. And like it was to make a joke that that joke just did not land for me. It was very like, Vulcans are better at everything. And then all 4 of them had things that like were just weird, you know, like their hyperfixation, which was an interesting thing that I didn't even pick up on until literally this moment. But like now I'm reading it as a neurodivergent hyperfixation with like 7 experiments going on at once, which is not a good idea. Not sleeping, not a good idea. 16 shifts in a day, like all of these things that they wrote, they could have done something like making Vulcan Pike hyper fixated on crew efficiency works and could be funny, but the way they did it makes no fucking sense. 42-minute shifts makes no fucking sense. Like, I see where you're trying to go, but you're failing to get there. There's a like this. I'm getting more frustrated because the premise of this episode does not exist, apparently.
Yeah, I can get you more frustrated, Stan.
I think
if you have a situation where the captain is compromised, which Pike was clearly compromised, why the hell didn't number 1 take command of the ship?
Oh, we're gonna talk about it now.
That makes no sense.
It's my girl.
Here's the thing I think I just clicked to why this episode is frustrating. There's no dramatic stakes in this episode at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing that is, oh, they're becoming too Vulcan. Things happen. We have to give them the antidote at this certain time or they're not going to be able to get turned back. There's no dramatic stakes of this. The interpersonal stuff is interesting, but there's nothing overarching. Like, there's nothing that's like, oh, they're becoming, like, if that serum was making them too Vulcan, like, all of this was like, this pushing them to being hyper Vulcan to the point we don't know what's going to happen to them. Or like this. There's no, the comedy is fine, but what's the sci-fi dramatic stakes of this? Like, even if this was a 90s episode, Trev, there would still be dramatic stakes. We've had episodes that were comedic. Like, we've had the DS9 episode where they go to Roswell, like the one where they go back at that one. That had dramatics. Yeah, exactly. That one, it was funny, but it had dramatic stakes. So there's no dramatic stakes in this episode.
Had humor.
No, exactly. So there's nothing in here. The comedic premise of the episode needs to ride kind of the dramatic arc of the episode as well, and it just doesn't have it. Like, that works for Lower Decks, but even then they had a dramatic arc of the episode. This is just, there's nothing here that's like, there's no stakes. There's nothing. Normally, the stakes are not big enough in some episodes. This one had nothing, which is so disappointing.
I think you're right that a countdown would have done it. Like, and that's why, and it makes La'an's reticence at the end even more like this warmonger version of her doesn't want to give it up, and Spock needs to convince her because he only has 5 minutes left before the reworked serum would do anything.
Right. Or even like, oh, like they go and Banga and Una are like they're medically compromised.
Yeah.
Let's
They're
say
medically
were
compromised now, and because they were technically, and they go, oh, they're compromised. They can confine them to quarters. They can do whatever they need to remove them from their offices. But like there's just not enough. There's no stakes at all, which I think that's the heart of the episode. And I think that's why some of this is frustrating, because the comedy would be fun if it was situational around this premise of them being unwilling to not be Vulcan anymore, instead of being Vulcan and being like, we have to fix the serum, but there's no reason for that. Like, why do they need to fix it? Well,
look,
Chapel does it 10 minutes into the episode, and then they go, I want to remain Vulcan. That's not how that would have worked. Yeah. Or if they had a dramatic thing about how they've changed and they want to remain that way. Is this our right to change them if they have changed and now want to stay this way? Like, there's something. Yeah, exactly. We'd get another Tuvix episode, but like,
it's right. I think like, one of the
it's like there was no dramatic tension in the episode. It was just kind of boof.
Well, yeah. So Star Trek has done comedy extremely well throughout its history, right? You look at The Trouble with Tribbles, you look at A Piece of the Action, you look at the Little Green Men, which you referenced. They've done really amazing comedy episodes, but to your point, Will, they all have some dramatic tie that makes it within the comedic moment. There's conflict. There's no conflict here, and so if the idea is to say let's continue this idea that Star Trek has comedy and let's do a Star Trek comedy, you just don't do comedy for comedy's sake, right? And I think they did a big disservice here to the whole concept of a good Star Trek comedy, because this certainly was not one. Now, certainly there are episodes that become comedic that were not supposed to be, like Spock's brain, for example. But
Sub Rosa.
This one, Sub Rosa, right? So
you're Nana. Nana's dead.
Right. They intend unintentional comedies, but this was an intentional comedy that fell flat, which is, a really, really bad thing. I mean, it's just, there's no excuse for an intentional comedy that falls flat. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, they could have easily had such good conflict with La'an or something, and then be like examine that side of the Vulcan, like, psyche or something, like, have something there. It just, I fully agree that it just felt, sorry, I'm also popped away and everything, but
yeah, we've just said everything you just said.
Yeah.
Better, actually.
Probably. Happy to be here, guys.
If I may put my dramaturg hat on, comedy is dramaturg. Look it up. That's a SAT word, honey. Comedy is normally thought as tragedy plus time. So comedy can't exist without drama, and vice versa. These two things have to exist together. Any good comedy you have ever seen has a dramatic through line. There's dramatic tension. Like Mrs. Doubtfire, a Robin Williams comedy where he's a man and playing an old woman in a plastic mask. That has dramatic tension through the episode that culminates at the dinner at the end. There is tension. So this episode doesn't have enough of it. If it was La'an taking over the ship or any of this other stuff, it just lacks dramatic tension throughout, to which helps that comedy kind of happen. You have to balance it out. You can't sit and eat an entire tub of frosting. You'll get sick. You have to have cake too. And drama is the cake. You have to have something of substance in it. It's just like getting a hamburger and opening up and it's just ketchup. It's like, this isn't good. You need the meat of the episode. You can't a man cannot subsist on condiment alone. Dramaturg.
But it's important to make sure that you use your condiments appropriately.
Everyone's taking condiments. Let's do some. Oh yeah, that would be good. Let's do some light plotting. Let's talk about our crew's reaction. I agree that Una should have taken over. Like, you all are clearly compromised. For 2 seasons, we were told she's the best first officer in the fleet. This season, we're actually seeing it, but then this episode happens, and throw it out the window because that's not what we want to do.
I think she was just overwhelmed by Doug.
But not initially.
I think she was just wet.
She knew he was down there. Pussy.
Mama, not just wet. Mama, Hurricane Katrina.
And she was
throw
like,
that uniform in the trash. She had to sit on a towel everywhere she went. That one
she's still vacuum sealed the captain's chair.
Torrential El Nina. Like, that girl needed. That woman needed to, like.
That's really why Pike got rid of the chairs, because
Una on the leather, Una.
Oh.
Thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
It was all of the alerts. Yeah, so she should have taken over, but she was emotionally compromised, as we've discussed. But I loved the scene in Pelia's quarters. There was a good discussion about it. It's like, are they compromised? Are they not? Like, I think they were, but like, I love a quintessential Trek conversation about the problem, right?
What the fuck's the captain doing?
Yeah, and
moment,
and everybody there, from Captain Patel, Pelia, Ortegas, like, they all had good moments in this episode, and in that light plotting of understanding the situation. Okay, now we need to talk to their Katra, and like that could have been more clear, I think, for noobs. But one thing that I especially loved in that episode, or that moment, was, Pelia is comedy gold throughout all of her presence. Even when things don't quite land, she's still fucking hilarious. But in that moment, when she was like, when Ortegas asked, well, what if their Katra says we want to stay this way? It was Pelia who was like, well, then we honor that. It was like a really good Trek conversation happening about the situation. What were y'all thoughts on the light plotting before we get to the Doug of it all?
The plot, it was not. There was. Well, I was gonna say the turn of the episode didn't. The turn of that conversation didn't happen. I mean, there was no turn. But I mean, I now I kind of wish that we just like meet in Pelia's. Everyone's just hanging out in Pelia's quarters all the time. Like, that would be so fun to me, because it kind of looks like it smells like patchouli, and it's just it's just always. There's too many incense, and it's just too warm in there. Like, I love
patchouli and weed. Yeah.
Weed works on her, but LSD doesn't.
I just need a scene of like Pelia trying every drug. She's just like pulling poppers out, like doing Molly. She's like, none of this works. Like, it would be really fun. Anyway, yeah. I mean, that conversation was good. We almost got to a Star Trek-y conversation, but then they're like, well, what do we do now? Like,
yeah.
Phaser to him in hypospray. They'd be like, oh, thanks. I didn't want to remain Vulcan.
Yeah.
I also, the Katra bit kind of pissed me off, because it would have been nice to see it, or it would have been, that's a good place for a joke to be like, or like, Patton Oswalt comes out and he goes, did it. And there's like, what? They're all prepared to do this Katra thing. And he's like, I already did it. That would have been
a good look into the cold open, them doing the mission too quickly.
Yeah. Just be, I did it. Like, that would have been, instead of just like, then they did it. And I was like, girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, did anybody pick up on a look that somebody on the Text Trek stream said this? I did not pick up on this. A look between Mbenga and Pelia. Are they fucking?
I wish. I want to see that.
I hope so.
I'd see that.
No, why not?
Watch.
Oh wait, this is a tangent thought, but we got to see a threesome I want to watch with Spock, Chapel, and Corby. That dinner should have gone farther.
Bad soup.
That was also
We would
funny.
have gotten that if the soup was good. Many sexual liaisons.
It's
Soup's
so sad
on.
that you just went underwater when you said that.
Yeah, you went underwater.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say many a sexual liaison has happened with me and a good soup and another gentleman. So, just saying.
Very brothy.
Oh,
I think that Spock should have thrown it against the wall. That I would have.
That would have been. Well, that's why I started laughing, because I was like, that just put that in such a different context for me, and I thought that was hilarious when he was like, "This shit is unsatisfactory." You just see him throwing that. It's like, bitch, why are you still trying to serve this to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capel just
This is
keeps
hot
spooning
pot.
it into his bowl. He's like, "Stop it!" He's like, "Eat the
It's
soup."
10 years, and you still can't make plomeek soup.
Yeah, that's
didn't-
funny.
So I do want to ask Ken because I don't know. When did Mbinga become a Vulcan expert? Like, should he be one now?
Well, so that's a good question. He obviously became a Vulcan expert by the time you got to the original series. So you could. What's interesting is that scene where it's Friday's Child, I believe, where Spock has to wake up from his coma, and Chapel is the one who's slapping him gently, and M'Benga is the one who's saying to Chapel, "No, you've got to hit him harder and harder." And these are the two, obviously the two characters from Strange New Worlds. So that whole scene doesn't make sense because there's a history between the two of them. And then M'Benga says, "And he probably heard you talking to him," and she's like, "Oh well, good nurse, blah 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 blah." So I would say that he should be a Vulcan expert now, and I don't know. I have to watch the episode again. I don't know if there's any inference in this episode that he is a Vulcan expert. Did you pick up one, Joanne?
Season 1.
Well, yeah, I didn't, and I'm like, well, maybe he isn't, and maybe this is what sparks it. Because honestly, I didn't kind of love the role he stepped into this. Like, they made Mbinga look stupid, I thought, like the entire episode. And I'm like, well, if he's a Vulcan expert, like, again, just like Una should have taken command, because he should have immediately removed them and declared them not fit for duty. But then they kind of, I think, conflated it with that whole, well, I guess I'm skipping kind of to the end, but like, well, what if they, we don't want to deny them if this is essentially what they want to be, and they tried to have a Star Trek moment for like 5 seconds, but this really wasn't the issue, right? Like, go off, let your freak flag fly, be whoever you want, but you're still not fit for command. So I'm like, if he's an expert, like, we shouldn't be tiptoeing around this. Like, he should be like, hey, here's what the deal is.
And even if he's not a Vulcan expert, the fact is that these 4 command crew individuals have been compromised. And so the chief medical officer should have relieved, because he could relieve anybody of duty, he or she, a chief medical officer of a ship can relieve anybody of duty. And so between M'Benga and Una, they should have assigned them to their quarters and just relieved them of duty. Then we wouldn't have had an episode.
Well, no, the thing is, they wouldn't even have to think about it this way. What did any of them really do in command or like on duty? Like, you could have still relieved them of command. Una's in charge. M'Benga is CMO. They're just going around the ship doing the same shit that they did in the episode anyway.
Yeah, Chapel.
But at least you still get to see think about any character in Star Trek that undergoes some huge transformation. Picard had to take 3 months off after he was assimilated by the Borg. Like, he was told by Starfleet, you have undergone this huge trauma. Your body has changed. Like, it's a little different, but like, these people are now a different species. Forget about all the other stuff we've been talking about. Like, just that much of a shift to your personality and to your body. Like, yeah, you should be relieved of command. It's not your fault. You were changed.
Hello, Battelle was right there.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a prime example. She's got Gorn DNA. She's not fit to be a captain anymore, sitting in the Pelia's room talking about, well, what are we going to do? Bitch, what did they do to you? You're right? Not the same thing.
Yeah. That could have been the drama moment. So if you think about The Enemy Within, which is the episode of the original series where Kirk is split in 2 by the transporter. And there's a moment in that episode where Spock confronts Kirk and says, are you unable? You want to step down? You want to be relieved of command? And Kirk says, no, absolutely not. But there could have been, instead of this moment that you had where Vulcan Pike dismisses number one and says, you're out of here after that conversation. That could have been a very different conversation where number one is saying, Captain, you're compromised, and you've got to show me that you can still command the ship, or else I'm taking over. That would have been a much different dramatic moment, and it would have made perfect sense. But instead, Pike's like, get out.
Yeah.
You're dismissed.
They
This
also
is dumb.
that Una has strength. Her struggling with that chair made no sense. It would have been just as funny.
Comedy.
Like, it was just for the comedy. It could have been just as funny if she had just pushed the chair and you would get a loud screech. Like, but her not being able to lift it made no sense. She hoisted Hemmer like a rag doll. Like, she's stronger than a human.
For some reason, here's the only thing I'm gonna disagree with you on.
You're wrong.
But for some reason, it made it even funnier to me to think that the chairs aren't that heavy.
It's awkward.
Really,
She's so big. It looked like she was just struggling to hold it.
That's why you never see any of them move it.
Fair.
Like, they're always just sitting around. You see them get in and out of them, but you never see them move it. And then all of a sudden, it's like even Una is like,
yeah.
So,
It
like,
could be super weighted.
It's got to stay still during,
And
this-
during the
yeah.
dialogue.
That's how I.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
This is why
But
we have-
really, what I wanted to see was them kind of, because really, it wasn't, like you said, they were seeing this kind of, it was Spock's perspective of people. But really what it felt like to me was, how when some people get drunk and they just say the shit that's always been on their mind or whatever. I mean, I feel like this is what this was, right? This is really the shit that's at the core of you. You don't know how to communicate well, and Chapel doesn't know how to make friends, and all the stuff, and that they had to deal with the fact that they're deep, kind of like the musical episode, but the other way, their deepest, darkest, kind of secrets were being exposed, and you're now having to interact with the crew, and they're seeing like, oh, you're not as together as I thought you were. Like, that's really what I thought was going to happen, or at least that's the conclusion they were going to come to. Like, hell, we weren't Vulcans. Again, the monster within, was us all along. I mean, they still stick to their theme. I'm gonna give them credit for that. They've been working this theme all season, but I don't know what they did. Like, they were smoking or something. It was wild.
Yeah,
It's so wonky. I just don't think like part of this too is like this episode would have worked better if it was just like not the senior staff. If this was like other crewmen, and then they became so Vulcan, they started like taking over the ship and being super efficient, all this stuff. I understand why they had Pike in there for that plot line with Marie to get her off the ship finally. So like I think that was maybe the reason for that, but we could have had a whole episode other than that. It could have been a crewman that's assigned to her or something. Like it's always like the Pike and the senior crew is always going down to the planet, and I'm like, y'all can't. There's like 400 people on the ship. Like, send anyone else to the random Vulcan planet. Like, it's weird that it was all of that. I understand why. I get it for plot, whatever. Yeah. But like, it would have been nice to have an episode where like, oh, we had 4 crewmen that went down that were only to fix this thing, and now they're like, I don't know. They shouldn't have made this episode, period. I'm trying to fix it, but really the only way to fix it is shit this shit out. Launch that shit out the airlock. Like, no, this didn't happen. This episode is not canon. If I had a button, not canon button.
I love that the science of the musical episode works more than the science of this episode.
Yeah. Well, there was science in that episode. This episode didn't have it at all. Yeah. There wasn't any of that.
Speaking of some science needing to happen, you brought up Marie. Let's talk about Marie Battelle, because again, shout out to Trek Movie having us co-author a article with our theory that she's going to Gornify. Maybe she even is the Arena Gorn, and she's just looking for the captain of the Enterprise, wondering who the fuck this is. Like, wait, what do you mean Kirk is the captain now? Why is he there? Anyway, I am now concerned that we had Captain Sidepiece actually get interesting in season 3, for them to give us this really interesting, horrific outing for her, because Pike in the chair chooses to go to Fina as much as he's choosing the fantasy, which assumes that there is nobody else in his life that he would want to be with. Because Vina, like it is very clear in the menagerie that Vina's a big part of him agreeing and wanting to go there. So that suggests that Marie Battelle is out of the picture. And if I swear to God, if he just decides he doesn't want to be with a lawyer, and that's how they get rid of her in the show, I will cackle, but I will be so frustrated.
I've actually been thinking
I still
about
think she's gonna die, but
for sure.
Well, the reframing of this is interesting too, because he has this relationship with Marie, this long ongoing relationship, and then but he, like, when he has the horrible accident, becomes the beep beep. He chooses a fantasy planet. So like the whole thing with the cage was that they're in this fantasy. The Telosians can create this stuff with their mind, all this stuff, and he goes, "Oh, I would rather live with this. I need to be in full access of my body. I need to live a fantasy with this random bitch I met once on a planet, than deal with being disabled." It reframes all of that.
The ableism.
I would rather go live in a cage with this random woman who's just as disfigured as I am than deal with being disabled
and married to a lawyer.
And with this, well, we don't know what happens to her. Like it is all, like, is the only two people in his life, Vina and Marie. Interesting, but like, yikes. Like we only see Vina. There's only 2 instances where we kind of deal with her, like the cage, and then the 1 episode in Discovery season 2. Yeah. So like we don't get her any other time. But like this man chooses to go live with some big-headed aliens
in a cage. He was desperate to escape.
In a cage, he was desperate to leave, to make babies with her, then be autonomous but disabled. I don't know.
This is an interesting argument.
This is a
maybe,
reach, but we don't know the whole story of this. But
well, maybe Marie didn't want to deal with a disabled person.
I think she would have. He dealt with her being a fucking partial Gorn or whatever. But I thought about that. It's been sitting in the back of my brain, and I've been waiting to whip that out. And it's just, that man is a piece of shit.
From the pilot, like there have been like he's dealing with it. He knows what's going to happen. He's dealing with it. It's there. Yeah.
But it doesn't change the end result of his decision later on in the menagerie, because he knows that this is going to happen. He's accepted his fate. Instead of accepting it, he goes, "Oh, I'm accepting it, but I have an out." Eventually, he gets an out and he takes it.
Yeah.
Gross.
Well, so the other thing we have to remember, we're going to do an analysis of Captain Pike, is that when we first see him in the cage, he's ready to retire. That's that whole great conversation between him and Dr. Pike.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm ready to give this all up." And then they reinforce that in the pilot episode of Strange New Worlds. "I'm ready to give this all up." And so he's forced back into this situation. So I think this is a man who's been fighting with himself for as long as he's been on screen, even back into 1964, right? So it's interesting to see. And, if you're in a situation where you have the option of saying, all right, I can only say yes and no and roll backwards and forwards a little bit, which, by the way, the other issue I have with that is by the time you get to the 23rd century, they should have been able to solve that disability issue. Yeah. But be it as it may, this was not Pike making this choice. If you remember in the menagerie, Pike is arguing and he's saying no the entire time, and it is Spock who is making this choice for Pike. It's Spock who kidnaps Pike. It's Spock who takes Pike to Talos 4. He didn't want, Pike did not want to go through that. And it's sort of Spock who's forcing this solution on Pike at the end. So, we got to
It's also deeply problematic.
It's also deeply problematic. I agree, but I mean to say that this is Pike
Ooh,
making
Spock put him in
this
an
decision-
institution.
A little bit.
Ooh,
Spock put Dad in the
different.
home.
Ooh,
Spock decided that my captain was completely disabled for whatever reason, and Spock said, "You should not have to live like this, Pike, and I'm going to take you to Talos 4 so you don't have to. I'm taking the decision out of your hands." So it's an interesting discussion, and I agree with you, Will. In either case, it shouldn't have happened that way, but it did. So who was the one who made the decision? Was it Pike? Was it Spock? Was it both of them? Was it the Telosians who decided to put the idea into Pike's head? Because at the end, the Telosian is saying to Kirk, "You have reality," and Pike has fantasy. Let both your ways be wonderful, whatever the paraphrase is, at the end of the menagerie. So was it the Telosians that forced Pike to do that at the end? Or even forced Spock to do it? It's a good question.
Oh.
Trevor in the chat.
Not the three babes. But he never gets to.
As long as it's not just one long beat.
You know who's not going to need a safe word? Una and Doug. Let's talk about Una and Doug.
Girl.
Like I said earlier, if this was like a King of Queens thing with like the bombshell with the not as conventionally attractive as her sitcom-y, which I do think is probably what they were going for, but those two actors had some chemistry and it was funny, and like the three of them together was really funny. Thoughts on Doug and Una and a little bit of Spock.
I like it, but I don't. I wish there would have been a line where Una goes, "Oh, he makes me laugh." Would have been so funny.
Or ever since a mind meld we've been inseparable, like something.
No, I mean it would. I don't even want to go that far. I just think it would have been funny. An's like, "Why him?" And she's like, "He makes me laugh."
Yeah,
like that's hilarious because he's Vulcan. Can't Vulcan?
Yeah,
so, that would have been funny. But yeah, I
something.
didn't mind it as much because I always got a sense that Una was a bit of a freak. So I'm like,
yeah,
that tracks. I didn't mind it as much. I would have liked more Doug, honestly.
I like the juxtaposition between him and Pasalk, the two actual Vulcans with the asshole fake Vulcans, could have been really interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I liked him a lot. It would have been funny if his name was Tuug instead of Doug instead of just Doug.
Yes.
Yeah, like throw a hyphen in because that's just funny. But yeah, I didn't mind. I didn't mind that. I thought the character was really funny. His obsession with like it. That was the one thing I liked of the episode. I like Patton Oswalt.
Yeah,
and he came in and he knew what he was doing. So good for him. But yeah, no, I was fine.
Yeah, I
he has.
I think he could have been better utilized in Trek generally. But he was great with what he had.
And I would like to see him used again.
Yes,
bring him back like Jeffrey Combs. Now he's not. He's a
different character all the time.
If they're taking pitches, Mr. Ellison. A Three's Company spinoff with Una Chin Riley and Doug.
Yeah.
And La'an.
I would be there for it. Well, not La'an. See, you fucked it up with La'an. We don't need La'an.
Well, she's in the...
We need Spock, Doug, and Una.
Yeah.
That trio, Hollywood royalty, it was gold. A Peck, Romaine and Oswald. Like, you could tell the whole energy when the three of them were together shifted because you could tell they all felt safe with each other. And it was hilarious. When I wrote my other favorite, my Doug line was, he was like, "Your music, your culture, your savoir faire." Oh my God. I fell out. And I loved Will, that they didn't play into the fact that Doug was not traditionally handsome. Like, it was maybe in the atmosphere, but I'm glad they didn't lean into that because that would have been more gross, right?
No,
It's already kind of gross episode that she was just like, I'm into him. He's into me, and we're into it. Like I was there for it. I was there for it.
No, I love
but I
that part of it.
didn't like the moment where they had like the hot guy standing and then he stepped aside and then you saw Doug. That was a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't either. And that's why I thought they were going to play that like, oh, why is she into this short fat guy or whatever. But
and for the record, because of some commentary in the chat, I want to make it very clear. I don't think it was, but I do think they were hinting that it was weird. I think that like with that guy moving out of the way, I think their intent was bombshell with unconventionally attractive sitcom nonsense.
But they also didn't execute that well either.
No,
like it did. It was too quick.
Hey,
it was too late.
He didn't always look like that because they said that she had known him 15 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have looked complete. That whole thing is like.
Great. I don't think they were weird at all, but I think that I think Strange New Worlds production team was hinting that these two don't look like they would be into.
That's the joke, the bad joke of that. Yeah. You know, Rebecca Romaine was literally a model, and then we have Patton Oswalt, and there's like who's made a career of kind of being.
Yeah.
You know.
And who among us hasn't been attracted to somebody that like didn't quite fit a vibe that others would assume for you, but there was just something about them.
Yeah.
You have to date in order for that to happen. So.
Well, we've all been dogmatized by.
Yeah. This was like the one thing I liked about the episode a lot was their relationship.
I like the end credit scene too. That was cute. It like
funny.
If it was in the episode, I'd be like, okay, this is a distraction. It's weird. Yeah. But as an end credit scene and his smile at the end, like it, which was probably him breaking.
It was him breaking for sure.
Yes.
And those high boots.
That dress. Oh, mama. Would she put that lipstick in her cleavage? Oh, mama.
She has been serving.
Hot.
Pussy, cut.
She got up, but I thought that dress would go lower. It did not. It stayed so short. I was like, yeah.
The way that she got up and went to pull it down, and then it looked like she just was like, no. And just like, I'm keeping it up here.
Yeah. Well, no, she got up and she moved it, but it didn't get any shorter. It was already like super, super short. So good. Bright point of the episode.
I think that was
the lipstick and the titty too. Hot.
Mm-hmm. And I like how some traditions transcend time.
Yes.
A lipstick and a bra that will stay forever.
That's nature's pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
A bra. Cleavage, nature's pocket.
Well, because Star Trek doesn't have
I'm going to move away from the fashion and the bras and the titties and the lipsticks for a second and say, was this the first post-credit scene in all of Star Trek history? It may be.
I think so.
Yeah.
Girl, Sohail in the chat. I'm gonna throw this up on the screen. I'm not gonna comment on it. Doug is a little shorter than Una, and good.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. And I believe I don't know which one is best, so I'll just give it because Sohail is gay. We'll go with a PGA.
Problematic gay alert.
Now, for the record, that's not even a kink, but it's nowhere near kink shaming, and it's not straight shaming, and real men eat
ass. Real men eat ass.
And the puss.
Well, I guess. Yes, Trevor, you're right. That's a well actually from Trevor, by the way. Sorry. Oh. Not the pussy thing, yeah.
Well, and
not the pussy thing.
And now you're so well.
I'm not talking to.
Well, actually.
Got our first well actually alert. Thank you, Ken. And thank you, Trevor.
Really, in that case, it should have just been them firing at that Borg vagina.
Oh,
remember, Picard season 3.
Yep. Yeah. The uniclitoris.
The uniclitoris, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So you were wrong, Ken, on multiple fronts.
No, but well, wait, hold on. on, but like
It was the first
It was
one.
the first time for everything.
It was the first
No,
one
it was a day that ended in Y. It was wrong.
in traditional length Trek.
There you go. In traditional length Trek. There you go. All right. So
Well, Father Reed just
I
said
don't-
Lower Decks did it, or is that not counting?
They're only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Traditional length, like
I like-
6.5.
So I guess I'm
Naturally.
going to jump a little bit. I think we're going to go through this, but there is a really, really, really problematic part of this episode that we haven't gotten to yet. But I think I'm going to wait on the agenda. So I really am. Really
There's a long list. Are we talking about the mind meld?
We are.
yeah,
Terrible things.
Or as Trek Movie referred to it in their review article, making Beto Una's beta or Uhura's beta.
Yeah.
he does seem caged.
Yeah, but he agreed to it. Consent was
Consent is 9/10 of the law.
technically achieved. Ken, what were your thoughts on Beto the beta?
I think that so if the idea is that the vulcanizing these people brought out certain enhanced or characteristics, what does it say about Uhura if she's mind melding with Beto to make him compliant?
I want to step in here very quickly and say there is not a single part of me that doesn't firmly believe that if Uhura's into anything, it's bondage and she is the dominatrix. Tell me that fan dance wasn't like pitcher plant luring in prey. That is Uhura, and I stand by that.
Get in the closet.
Like, she is one of the ones, like, if she has a boyfriend that's like, sit down and eat your food, and he's like, yes, ma'am. Like, I can see it. I can see Uhura doing that. Because she...
So the I'll have Mr. Adventure reading out of my hands is correlates to her mind melding with Beto.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? I know how to manipulate these men. All they want is this hot fucking body.
I disagree
And
with
for
that.
both of them.
I don't think the execution was great, but they do establish very clearly that he agreed to a mind meld. So I take it at face value that she explained, I have X, Y, and Z problem with you, and I can help you with a mind meld, and here's what would happen. And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Does that make it okay? No. But I don't think it is. It is problematic. I don't think it's as aggressively problematic as the commentary is insinuating. And I also loved Ortega's Erica.
Oh, yeah.
So she finally had something interesting, and she's like, "No, we're both annoying. This is who we are." Like, Ortegas in this episode was great. They finally gave her something really not really interesting, but they finally gave her like something a little more fun and interesting to do in defense of her brother, which was nice to see.
I thought that was nice. That was nice. And Father E, now we have the backstory to Star Trek 3. That's right. She didn't go to the Genesis planet because she was playing with a new boy toy in the closet.
Honestly.
Getting Mr. Adventure to eat out of her hands, literally, figuratively, in every such way.
He wasn't unattractive. He was, well, no, his personality made him unattractive. The shitty Vulcans and the not Vulcanness. Any final thoughts as we start to wrap up? Not Pike, not La'an, not Uhura, not.
I did like the La'an sort of going to sort of lean towards the Romulan side, and I'd liked sort of this sort of hint of, I have a top secret classified thing. I have a top secret classified thing. Romulans.
I liked that was Anson's one. Like, okay, that was actually funny. Like he can react to a funny thing happening well, but he's just not good at being the source of funny.
Yeah,
he's just not a comedic actor, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, oof. That moment was fun.
I'm sure I'm wrong about this, and Trevor will tell me in the chat if I am. But how many times have they directly referenced Khan, Noonien, and Singh? I guess they did it in the episode Tomorrow and Tomorrow. That. So it's been established that she's directly tied to Khan Noonien Singh before, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
She's his like great granddaughter. or
It
something
is
like that.
weird. Well, it's not weird. I like that it came up because how could it not? Right? That felt a little more organic than just like it's the Gorn trauma every episode.
Yeah.
Like she's gone through this thing. It's bringing out the latent augment gene of it all. She was a little ham in it, and I liked her
The right
generally.
amount.
Yeah,
She was the right amount of ham. She
Yeah.
was the amount of ham Star Trek should have. I firmly
it
believe
was a
when
very
Star
cartoon villain, and it worked for.
But that's what Star Trek, when it's at its best. Like, think of TOS. Think about, like, you have to have an element of camp in there to remind yourself to be thinking
how
about,
dare you?
like, yeah, Tosser, you want to talk about camp.
I do
You're
want
over
to
there. Camp Kumbaya is TOS.
Yeah, I had a great camp. So I think the reference to augment was interesting because no one in referring to Khan Noonien Singh in the original series or in the Wrath of Khan ever used the word augment. That didn't happen until Enterprise. I thought it was an interesting tie back to that word, augment, and Enterprise. Go ahead. You were berating me, Matt. Keep going.
Oh, no, I was done. That was it.
Okay. All right.
I had my fun.
Okay. Fine.
Will, you came off.
Anybody else? Will, I know
I
you're thinking
lost.
about it.
Yeah.
No, I just had a thought. I mean, meh.
Yeah, I'm just looking through my notes and trying to make sure we covered things. Again, I think it's a little hack in the writing, but we're doing a Vulcan thing, so we have to throw out the word logic, logical, illogical. I counted at least 8 in this episode, and at least one instance when it was legitimately used incorrectly.
Yeah,
When-
there was a
when-
few times where the word logical was used in kind of a tenuous fashion.
Yeah,
like
to
that's
me,
a little,
correct.
that's kind of reachy.
Is that not is like, well, there are only 4.5 Vulcans, not 5, as you were only half Vulcan. And somebody was like, is that not logical, Spock? Like, that's not what that word means. Words mean things. It's like awful.
I think the word means what you think it means.
I liked Una saying that Spock had a big Lurpa, because I believe it.
Spock is canonically hung. Everyone.
And
Get
Doug's
pens
eye
ready. The
movement.
get the fanfic
The
ready.
fact that Doug looked at it.
Yeah, that was
Mama.
Let's go.
Mama.
yeah.
Who doesn't? Mr. Ethan Peck walked past me during STLV, and I went
Yes.
like right to it. I was like, I need to know.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
art imitates
Did
life.
you ask?
Pelia was hilarious
Didn't
the
you?
entire time. She did not. It was not a high five moment that she said, but I loved the like. Do you not know what this is? Pelia was great. The fact that she wanted to be like writhing in pain on the ground, hilarious. That LSD doesn't work on her, hilarious. And she tried last July, and it still did nothing. And I love that the biggest lie in the Federation is that Vulcans can't lie, because they do all the time. They lie all the time, and it's kind of hilarious. It's legitimately funny to me that like when they're like, we cannot lie. It's like, you know, technically you can't lie well, so maybe that's what they're saying. Like Pelia last season said their inability to lie is great. They lie all the time. Final thoughts before we land the ship? Anything we haven't talked about or anything that we want to circle on?
No.
Well, I do want to say that the visual effects. I mean, we've been tearing this episode apart, but the visual effects, the scenes with the starship, you know, the captain's log that Una does,
Yeah,
the show looks beautiful. The show just looks beautiful.
along those planetary rings. Delightful. Yeah.
So they do a great job with that, but this episode just needed more cooking. needed more time in the kitchen.
Well, I'm glad.
Or
I will say
out.
the Vulcan costumes were pretty good too. Their little outfits were cute. Those were cool. But like, yeah, the production value of this show remains top notch. Like everyone's quarters.
Circle scanner, like in Enterprise, that was a cute touch.
Yeah, the production of this remains like S tier, the gold standard for television. But like the writing of this episode, Mama, you can spray paint a turd as much as you want, but Mama, that turd is still a turd.
Yeah. But ending on a positive note, the production value was delightful. Visuals, props, costumes, everything. Well, Joanne, dear, it is that time. Would you land the ship, please?
I will land the ship. I have a temporary license. Thank you to Trev. So we're going to try. I'm not going to crash it, even though I love Troy. We had 4 problematic gay alerts and 1 problematic ally alert. We had 1 Bev alert. Thanks to Norm in the comments. We had 3 tosser alerts, 1 headcanon. We went off the rails 3 times, once before we even went live. And I have a new category that Ken was on a roll 3 times tonight, and there was 1 well actually. And then I want to give out a few awards tonight. $69 goes to Will for the Get the Fuck Out of Here award for asking Kirk, "Ho, why are you here?" $8.47 goes to Fathery for the Waffle House Award for cooking breakfast for dinner for Taylor. The Creative Writing Award goes to Jake in the lovely grand prize of $1,701 for Star Trek The Final Fist. Honorable mention to Joel for Delta Space Nine and Pelia's Ready Room. He wins a lovely $23. For the PG-13 Players Award goes to Matt for bullying improvers. You win $49.99. For the Blue Skies Award goes to Joel for It Could Have Been Worse, a lovely prize of $1,926. And $525,600 goes to Trev for the 100% That Bitch Award for showing up just to argue with Ken and giving Michelle the Mean Girls treatment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Incredible.
Perfection.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Just kidding. Come back soon. To end tonight, a question, an important question.
Intruders among us. Danger. Danger. Intruders among us.
Girl, why the hell are you here so much? Get out.
Oh, why is you here?
Get out. And until next time, join us next week for another episode of The Salon, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Like and subscribe, comment, have fun, live long and prosper. Bye.
All hands abandon ship. Proceed to the nearest evacuation zone immediately.